Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the show. It's your good buddy Spider, and I'm on time today. I am surprisingly on time, considering the week that I've had and the week that I still have to go. It's pretty wild, and I mean that, and then just it's head spinning, and it's kind of wearing me out. But we're gonna get there. We will get there. I do not actually have a topic for this evening. I was racking my brain, racking it, trying to come up with something today, because today was the first time I got the chance to just think about it, and I couldn't come out with something specific, so I'm going to just kind of talk and see where it goes, and hopefully I can keep things going for, a reasonable amount of time, right? It's definitely getting colder, by the way. It is definitely getting colder here in Ohio. It is mid-October. It's getting to be spooky season for those of you who do that kind of thing. And for me, it is my daughter's birthday season, because she's an October baby. And so we have all kinds of plans and preparations to give her a good celebration, and we've already gotten pretty much all of her presents. I spend most of the year getting presents for her birthday, like way ahead of time, because I don't know how the money's going to go all throughout the year, because it can, you never really know what the bills are going to be like throughout the year, especially with right now with the way that the economy is. And I'm not going to go big into that and complain, in this economy, because I know everybody's got their thoughts about it, and it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, and so I usually start as early as I can throughout the year. I'll see something advertised online, or she'll talk about, I saw this. I'm got this idea for this toy I want, this plushie, and I wonder if I'll get one for my birthday, and I'll remember that kind of thing, and I'll make a list. And I'll periodically get gifts throughout the year to save until October, and then they just go into a special secret stash that she doesn't know exactly where it's at for when the day gets here. But that's the season for her right now. And we've started, admittedly it was awful timing on my part. We started a minor renovation project on the house. We've got carpets, like the whole house is carpeted top to bottom except for the attic, the basement, and the kitchen, and the bathroom. Every other room in the house is all done with the same shade of red carpet. And it's been the same carpet since we moved in over a decade ago. Plus a couple years. It's a decade and some change. And the carpet has taken a beating in that time frame. It has really taken it. The number of times you can clean a carpet eventually wears out. There's nothing you can do, and it stains, and it especially if you have pets, because pets will make the occasional accident. No matter how many times you clean up after them, eventually something will always make a stain. It's ridiculous. And so we had just decided to replace the carpet. We were going to pull it up and put down the tile that looks like hardwood floor. Have you heard about it? It's like this nice looking wood grain looking tile. It's like laminate, but it looks like it's hardwood floor. And nobody who walks on it is going to be fooled, but it looks nice, and it's easy to clean, and it's lightweight, and you can pick it up and put it down if necessary, if a piece goes bad, right? So we had just started pulling up the carpet in the dining room. Made a lot of headway on it. We're chipping away at it a little bit every day because it's just us, and we're doing it in our downtime. We hadn't been putting a lot of effort into a deadline for it. And then we got the word that within a week we're part of a rent-to-own program. We've been renting the house and making payments, and part of the payments go towards the actual cost of the house. As like eventually, if we go to make the purchase, it'll be part of the down payment, and we put quite a bit into it. Every couple of years, we say, okay, this is the year we're going to buy the house, and then something comes up and sets us back, and credit problems happen, and we've gotten so close. In the past, we've gotten so close, and then something happens. So, but we're set on buying the house. We live here. It's our house. We're not trying to go anyplace else. But apparently, the landlord that we're doing the program with, he needs to have there's a court order, and he's not in trouble or anything like that. I don't want anybody to think that he got sued, or I don't want to tell stories about people. But it's court ordered that he has to assess all of his properties. So all of them need appraised. Now, it's not going to affect the contract that we signed for the payment that we're making towards it. But it still needs to happen. And so now we've got a room where the carpet's all torn up and it looks horrible. And so we have to try to finish that and moving all the furniture back that we moved out of there, because we've got stuff everywhere to have room to work in there. So the house looks kind of a mess and really kind of scattered. So we have to deal with all of that before the appraiser gets here, because I don't want it to look bad for the dude. He's trying to do everything honestly and whatnot. And so we're scrambling. We negotiated some extra time out of it so we could get the thing done, and it's just a lot going on, especially when you can't devote 100% of your time to it. We had been just working on stuff in our spare time, which was not considerable. You know, we both have things that we do. I am doing uncanny media all day, every day, along with raising my daughter, and the wife is working at the shop 12 hours every day minimum, and it's just it was already difficult trying to come together and get anything done in a timely fashion, and now we have to rush. So it's been a source of frustration. So I'm tired because I've been waking up 2 hours earlier than usual every day to make sure I have more time in the day to get things done. And around that, I have my obligations to Uncanny Media, of course. That hasn't gone away. Like today, now I gotta chase a kitten. No. Nope. No, man. No. Oh, dang it, man. Oh. Gosh. Do you hear the mess that's being made here right now? Oh, my goodness. The house is not kitten-proof. It is not kitten-proof because we haven't had kittens this young in the longest time. All the other cats were old, and they didn't get into things. And now these two, we didn't have time to kitten-proof. And so they're getting behind furniture they're not supposed to. They're getting up on curtains, and oh, goodness. So it's non-stop action right here. It's TNA wrestling. It's total non-stop action here at my house. Not to mention, that the lease on my wife's car was coming up, and we'd both taken credit hits since she had initially done the lease for the car. So while she had good credit enough to lease it initially, we were having trouble getting a car loan to actually buy the car once the lease was up because she wanted to buy it. It's like one of her dream cars. She didn't want to give it up. And so we managed to get financing secured to buy the car, but the payment for the car, the monthly payments for the purchase as opposed to the lease, are double what they were, and some change. So we're taking a financial hit with that. We're taking that. It's just been a rough series of weeks. Everything's kind of been like smack. I'm hoping we have enough to cover everything. It's going to hit hard. Like we're already kind of scraping by with stuff. So, and that's not an appeal for. That's not an appeal for like, hey, we're doing bad. You should, toss me some dollars to support the show. La la la. I have all those kind of things in place. Like I do have a support page on uncannymedia.net where you can do Venmo, PayPal, whatever, but this is not what that's for. I'm not using this as a fundraising opportunity. These are just the facts. This is just what's going on in my life. I'm not doing a telethon here. I'm not asking for donations. Everybody's got bills to pay. Everybody's got stuff to do. It would be disingenuous of me to ask my listeners for more money for my own personal stuff when everybody has their own personal stuff that they're trying to do, right? So again, I'm just saying that as a matter of fact where I'm at. I'm just spewing words out. You guys are kind of like my therapy session, I guess. Certain folks seem to always say that I needed some therapy, and this is my therapy. I throw all this stuff out to the audience, and that's good enough for me. It doesn't have to be solved. It doesn't have to be people providing solutions. It's just, let me get it out. I'm just going to talk about it, and then that's it. Let me just talk about it, and it's all good. You don't got to do anything about it. I'm just talking about it. Not that I think I need any kind of actual therapy. I'm pretty well put together, to be honest. I'm pretty solid. I mean, I'm frazzled right now. I'm frustrated, and I'm kind of like, Rrr. And last night I did get some tightness in my chest, and I don't mean that in a medical way. I mean that in an anxious kind of way. And I'm not an anxious person generally. I don't have anxiety as a common thing. I don't panic, and I don't, I'm pretty well put together. But a few years ago, I noticed every once in a while, and this is something that's happened throughout my life, but it became more alarming as I got older, because I recognized more of what it was. When I would overthink things, or when situations would just become real burdensome, I might get a tightness in my chest and a real tense. I'd feel tense, and I'd feel like there was something happening, something coming on the horizon, and I didn't know what it was, and it worried me, and so I realized after a while, after I looked up eventually once I got into my 30s and up, I was like, I keep getting this sensation. What is it? Am I having some kind of heart problems? What is it? And it turns out I'd started to develop anxiety attacks, which you don't have to be an anxious person for your body to have anxiety attacks, which is a wild idea. Like, it was wild to me to find out that I don't have to have a conscious mental health thing going on for my body to still react to mental health subconscious, right? I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, but I don't get those very often. It's because, like I said, I'm a pretty well put together person. I'm pretty focused, even when things go real bad, and I get put in situations where I'm not exactly sure what to do. I usually can come up with some kind of a plan, move forward, and I stay calm. I stay chill about it because there's no reason to beat yourself up with worry about things, because if you worry about it, you're just going to make things worse. Like, you either deal with it or you don't. And if you don't deal with it, you accept the consequences of not dealing with it. And that's how things go for me. It's pretty cut and dry, to be honest. If I can't figure it out, then I just let it go. And then if it's something that I should have dealt with, it comes back and bites me. And that has happened a couple of times. Not often, but a couple of times. I'm usually pretty on point with things. But every once in a while, I would just get these feelings of abject dread. Like something terrible had just happened or was going to happen. And I didn't know what it was, and I couldn't pinpoint it. And that's what it was. And they usually would last for like 10, 15 minutes. I would do something, like I'd get a cup of coffee, or I would do something, to settle my nerves and whatnot. And it had been a while since the last one. Like, I've come, I've come a long way. I've come real far with my mental health. I mean, there's people out there, and they knew who they are, who would disagree with me, who would say I have all kinds of problems. They're wrong, of course. And then they would say I'm narcissistic, which is also wrong. But they don't know me. They think they do, and they think they can diagnose me based on their own behavior. But a couple of days ago, I was here on the couch late at night. I was thinking about all the things I got to do before the appraisal comes through, which is not really a big deal. They're just going to walk through and make sure the house is structurally sound, and make sure it still matches the investment that the guy put into it before we signed on to the program, and that we haven't torn it to shreds, right? But I got the feeling. I got that feeling of dread in my chest and my stomach, like there's something terrible coming. And I knew there wasn't. And I still know that there's not. I can't tell the future. I'm not making predictions. But I know nothing horrible is going to happen out of this situation. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing's going to keep us from eventually getting this house. It's our house. We live here. We have it. This is how it's going to be. But I had the feeling in the guts and in the chest. I sat here and I recognized it for what it was, and it had been a while since the last time I'd had a feeling like that. So it got me thinking about, well, what if we don't get it in time? What if this is a big issue? What if they decide, oh, well, the house isn't, you shouldn't have messed with this, and you shouldn't have done this, and look at this. And so I started worrying about it, but then I was like, you know what? No, you can't worry about it, because it's not a thing. Just stop. And I feel better today. It's usually temporary, like I said, but it was just one of those things. And that just goes to show that no matter how well put together you are, there's things that can just subconsciously, that you don't even think about, that will cause your body to react. And you'll wonder what it's all about. You might not even know what you're upset about, to be honest. But it's something you can deal with. I mean, you just got to recognize the signs. You got to recognize what's going on with it, and take steps to deal with it. Maybe breathe, maybe do exercise, different things. There's options before having to go towards like being medicated or going to a doctor or something like that. There's things you can do to lessen your anxiety and to lessen your nervousness and to lower the blood pressure, so to speak. If you're willing to do that. I mean, a lot of people are just like, oh, I just feel I need to see a therapist and I need to do this and I need to do this. And often it's not that serious. Our brains take advantage of us. Our brains will feed us messages and feelings that are not really accurate to a situation. We overreact a lot without even really thinking about it. It's an automatic process almost. It's one of those things that we just don't understand about the brain. We've learned so much and we can map the entire human genome and all these other kind of things. And we still don't exactly know how the brain operates. And it'll do these things. It'll mess with us. It'll throw us for a loop. And once you recognize that, you can learn to deal with it. You can figure it out. I don't know if you can hear this kitten. He's obnoxiously loud and he's purring right now. He's purring really super loud, and he's trying to eat my phone. I think they're teething. I think the kittens are teething because they're gnawing on everything. They're gnawing on the furniture. They're gnawing on the phone if they can get it. They're gnawing on their toys. They're gnawing on each other. They're just no. But they're growing. That's what happens. That's what they do. Baby cats grow into big cats. And that's what they want to do. So that was my mental health talk. That was my mental health talk. I'm doing okay, by the way. I don't want anybody to get worried. I don't want anybody to think that I'm getting into a bad spot. I'm not brooding. I'm not getting into my own head. My subconscious is kind of freaking out over everything I got to do because I've had to do a lot of extra work that I didn't have to do before. But it's all good. In other news, there was a WWE Premium Live event recently. And WWE events now are held on the ESPN app. Or if you have an ESPN package through your cable provider, then you can get it through that. But which is kind of inconvenient for a lot of people. I'm not going to say what I'm doing to get the Premium Live events. I'm not using ESPN. I will say that. But it is kind of irritating. There's a price increase, and it's not available in all markets, and a bunch of other stuff. And plus, over the past... Since this past WrestleMania, the show has not... The shows... There's a couple of them every week for WWE. There's two, plus if you watch NXT, which I don't really. But Raw and SmackDown have been kind of lacking since WrestleMania. Things have been kind of in a lull. Like, it's been tough to get into some of the stories and whatnot. But they had Crown Jewel, which used to be... Crown Jewel was developed as a Saudi Arabia specific event, which annoys me. I'm not a big fan of how much influence Saudi Arabia has with the WWE. And I've already gone on discussions before about human rights and how the women have to what they have to wear in Saudi Arabia versus the men and things. So I'm not going to revisit that here because I've already said it multiple times. But I'm grouchy about it. So Crown Jewel was initially a Saudi event, but this year it was in Australia. It was still sponsored, of course, by Saudi Arabia because they're the ones who own the titles for it. They own this big giant belt that they crafted for it, and a bunch of other things. But because it was in Australia, everybody wore their normal ring gear, men and women alike, which I thought was nice. It was fair. I mean, if the men can show all the skin they want to show with their briefs and their tights, then the ladies should be able to do the same thing. And that's not me being sexist trying to see half-naked women. Again, I've made this point before. It's just, it seems to be not fair if you're going to tell the women they have to be covered from the neck down completely, if you're not going to tell the men the same thing. The men should be wearing the same kind of outfits. And again, it's not because I want to see more skin. It's because I think they should be allowed to be comfortable. First and foremost, they should be allowed to be comfortable, and that's how it should go. But whatever. But Crown Jewel was interesting. It was better than WrestlePalooza. WrestlePalooza was the name they gave to the first premium event to go on ESPN. It was like the big ESPN debut, and it was okay. It was kind of lackluster, to be honest. The matches didn't really fit real well. They didn't do very well. I didn't really get into it. But Crown Jewel was decent. Crown Jewel was decent. But the real big story is what happened after Crown Jewel on the following Monday on an episode of Raw. I haven't watched the whole episode. I've seen the highlights because this was a huge story after it happened. So I watched the highlights on YouTube. At Crown Jewel, you have the champions battle again of one show. The Raw champions battle against the SmackDown champions to show who is the best champion of champions. So they do that for the women and they do that for the men. And this year, it was Seth Rollins, who's the World Heavyweight Champion, versus Cody Rhodes, who's the WWE Undisputed Champion. And Seth won. And so on Monday night, he was celebrating. Let me gotta sneeze here. He was celebrating with his new group. He's got Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, the Bronze, with Paul Heyman, of course. And he's celebrating. He interrupts a match with CM Punk, and he kicks him. They beat him up, and he throws him out, and he's going to celebrate that he's got this win over Cody. And then Braun Breaker attacks him and beats the snot out of him. One of the guys from his own team. And this was something that we saw coming. They've been building Braun Breaker as like the next big guy. He's going to go for big titles and big things. And they were teasing him having frustrations with Seth in the back, but they were subtle about it, and you could never quite tell if he was really going to do something or not. We thought we were going to have to wait another couple of months, or even the rest of the year, for something to happen for him to challenge Seth for the title, but nope. He attacked him right here, and Bronson Reed went with him, so they're the most dominant tag team in WWE for that pro wrestling right now. And if you're not into pro wrestling, all of this is meaningless, and you don't care, and you wish I would stop talking about it. But I was entertained. I'm a Braun Breaker fan. He's very physically capable. He's also the nephew of one of my favorite wrestlers, Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner was awesome. And his father is Rick Steiner, who was the other half of Scott's tag team when they used to be a tag team back in the day, because that was their debut, and then they split off and did separate characters, and the Scott Steiner character was just so much better. And Braun acts so much like his uncle. He's got shades of his father, but he acts so much like his uncle, and because his uncle was one of my favorites, I'm really into Braun Breaker. And he's getting better and better and better at what he says in his talks and everything. So seeing him get into the world title mix is a pretty interesting thing. I'm into that. I'm down for that. I'm here for it, as some of the kids say. So what are we going to talk about next? Like I said, I didn't really have a topic for this episode, so I'm kind of meandering around a little bit. I do want to remind everybody that Uncanny Media has a series of partnerships with a few other people going on right now. We have many, many excellent affiliates, and I'm going to take this moment to highlight each of them. Our first affiliate, of course, was the writing team of Evanescence. I had one of the members of that writing team on for an interview at the release, or, well, talking about the upcoming release. It's released since, but at the time it was upcoming, of the science fiction novella Jack and V, which is available on Amazon right now, by the way. Please go check it out. Amazon Kindle. It's a digital download, and it's not bad. It is not bad at all. And if you enjoy it, please write a review to let the authors know that you enjoyed it. Our second affiliate is Cooking Basically. Cooking Basically is run by an extremely nice, just all-around great lady named Alyssa. We at This Uncanny Earth have known her for a long time. She was one of the early fans of the show. She got along well with my co-host Rob. And she introduced us, or I don't know how the introductions happened. I don't know if he introduced us to her or she introduced us to him. But through her and together, we all knew the late, great Todd David Anderson, who was a force of nature. He was just an excellent individual all the way around, and he's gone too soon, and I miss him every single day of what would have been the continuation of his life. And but she's been a fan, she's been a friend, and she makes recipes. Generally, they're gluten-free, and they have low sodium and different things because she has dietary stuff, and her husband has dietary things. Which, I have dietary things because I can't do lactose, right? So I appreciate that kind of thing. But she's getting into demonstrating meal planning and helping people with various ways to plan their meals, and she has a TikTok, which I don't follow because I don't use TikTok. But I hear she's doing very well there. She's on Facebook. Again, Cooking Basically. That's what you'll want to look for. And she's on YouTube. And she just recently started the YouTube channel to show off the cooking videos and the menu planning. And I am going to be adding that to the rotation for my super promotion that I do for my own channel. I have like a super secret weapon super promotion thing that I do to get the name out there for subscribers and all that kind of stuff. It's not bots. It's not fake subscribes. It's not AI driven. It's legit, is what it is, and it's helped me grow exponentially. And I've been doing some things with it for Musicians Hangout, which I'm going to get to in a minute. And I'm going to be applying that towards Cooking Basically, because she could use some more subscribers. Get the name out there. If you want to have a new recipe that's healthy for you, that looks delicious, then check out Cooking Basically. We are also partners, of course, with Musicians Hangout, who I just mentioned. They are a team of ladies in the Pacific Northwest, specifically Washington State. They do interviews of local musicians in that area of the world, and of musicians from all kinds of places. Local seems to be, well, it's the biggest one because they know people out there, and they are musicians themselves. And they are the best music interview show in the Pacific Northwest. Some folks of small stature and small minds might disagree, but those people don't matter. So, those people are doing essentially nothing right now. And they know who they are. They know who they are. So, but Musicians Hangout is awesome. They're friends of mine. I've known them for a long time, and they are one of our affiliates. And through them, I've also added Lou Jack Promotions. I believe I talked about Lou Jack Promotions on the last podcast episode here. But just as a reminder, they are also based in the Pacific Northwest. It's run by a guy named Kevin, who's having a birthday soon, in 2 days. As of this recording, it's October 15th. And on the 17th, he will be having a birthday show in the PNW with some excellent bands, all kinds of great stuff going on. So if you can make it, please check out Lou Jack Promotions and Kevin's birthday smash, bash, crash, party extravaganza. If I lived out there, I'd be going. I don't. I'm in Ohio. But still. But Lou Jack Promotions, they are our most recent affiliate. And, of course, we're still partnered with Big Buff Records. I'm still the chief operating officer of that. We are still looking for artists to put on the roster for our distribution program. If you want a distribution deal and you don't want to deal with the red tape yourself and you don't want to have to do all the details, then just get at us. We will help you do that. We will simplify the process for you. We will help you put out your music on all the various streaming platforms, and we'll help you get your foot in the door. Will you be an overnight success? I cannot guarantee that, but you never know. All you need is a start. All you need to do is get started, and that's what we're here for. We're here to get you started and get you moving. You retain all rights to everything that you create. You have full creative control. We do not exert any influence over any of that. So there's no fear that we are going to compromise your artistic vision. We only take a small fee from the overall streaming package. It's a low percentage. It's negotiable. We can talk about it. The bulk of everything will be in your favor because that's how we operate. We are here for the artist. We are artist focused as opposed to simply just making money for ourselves. So Big Buff Records here in Ohio. If you're interested, let me know. Drop me an email. You can find it on most of my various social media things. I have my email listed. Or send me a private message on Facebook. I don't respond to every single private message because I do get a lot of spam stuff and people trying to get like money for nothing and their chicks for free. No. But I'll generally check my filtered messages often enough that I'll probably catch it within a day or two. So there's the plug. There's the plug for all that. And of course, we are still doing This Uncanny Earth. This Uncanny Earth is every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are on, as of this recording, this week we're going to be finishing the third part in our artificial intelligence series. We've been doing 3-part blocks based around a singular topic with variations. And this 3-part block, the first one started with our third man, our current host, co-host Steven, formerly the intern. He introduced us to how AI learning works. It was a bit technical, but it was interesting. I didn't know most of that. And then I did an episode about the ethics involved in using artificial intelligence for education and for entertainment and for manufacturing and all that kind of things. And that was a good episode. And this next episode this week is going to be AI and spirituality. Because as science fiction has shown us, there is always going to be a new religion. And AI could be the next religion of the masses. So Rob is going to be talking about that and presenting it, and we'll be talking this week. So that's the whole everything. I've done a lot more promo on this episode than I thought I was going to do. But again, I didn't really have a topic. There's been some things in the news. And I don't want to get too into some of these things because I don't want to turn this into a political episode and get into a lot of political analyzation or analysis. We're under a government shutdown, by the way, as of this episode, which I think is it's patently ridiculous. A government of a country, the ruling coalition of a country, should not be subject to a shutdown for lack of funding. Okay? I know everybody deserves to get paid for what they do, and yes, politics is as much a job as anything else. I'll have to admit that. I will say that. But you're not just in it. You're not in the position specifically to make money. You are in the position to write policy and to direct the direction. That's kind of a dumb way to say that, but to guide the direction of a country, of people, of civilization. You are elected, not hired. You're elected to run the country. And just the mere fact that all of these people could suddenly, oh, well, we're out of money, so we're going to stop working. That's insane. And I know some people say, well, it's not the leaders themselves, it's the federal workers and everybody at the bottom. And there's no reason for that either. Like, they should all still... Everybody should still be working. The government should still be functioning. Nothing should be shut down because it's a government of a country. And the issue is, and this is kind of debated. This is something I didn't know was a huge debate. At some point in my 20s, we learned that the government, the United States government, is incorporated. And the automatic assumption is that means it is a corporation as such, and that it's not subject to the same things that a normal elected government would be, because now it operates like a company. So there's like CEOs and things and whatnot. But that's not exactly the way that it works. It's incorporated because the government needs to be partially a business because of the laws that we have detailing various things, and the federal government wanted a piece of the pie as far as different money-making things occurred. But at the same time, it does mean that things like this, if a company runs out of money, it goes bankrupt and it stops functioning. And that's kind of what's happening with the federal government. And this is the third shutdown that I remember in my lifetime. The last one was in 2013, I believe. There might have been one in between that was just for a day or so, but the last major one was 2013. I remember because it came up in my Facebook memories, because I posted about it being stupid at the time. Pretty much similar feelings to what I'm saying now, that it's insane that an elected government can simply grind to a halt for lack of money. Like if you work in government, if you are a federal worker, yes, you are entitled to get paid because you're working. But at the same time, you are working in public service. And you should keep working. Regardless. Like it is your duty to serve the people, regardless of whether you're getting paid or not. Even though, yes, I do believe you deserve to get paid. But you should still be working. Regardless, because that's your job. Your job is to serve the people, and if you're not working, you're not serving the people. Right? It seems like it should be so simple. But here we are. We're almost 2 weeks, I think, into this latest shutdown. If I'm remembering right. I didn't mark down the exact day that everything shut down, so I've been going off of news articles, and I haven't committed a lot of that to memory because a lot of it's fluff, and a lot of it's just people pointing fingers and saying it's these people's fault, no, it's these people's fault, and it's whatever, and you've got analysts and news broadcasters all giving their opinions, and it doesn't matter. It's a dumb situation, is what it is. It's just, it's stupid. It is literally stupid that it's come to this. But whatever. That's just my thoughts on it. I'm just some yokel from rural Pennsylvania transplanted to Ohio, trying to make sense of everything. Oh goodness. So that's mostly what I have to talk about. We've got about 10, 11 minutes to go. And I'm not sure where to go with this next. I was pretty lost at the beginning of this, and I've just been kind of rambling, and I'm pretty burned out because, again, I've just been working extra hard and waking up early and everything for the last week and a half, and I still have several days of that to go. What about you folks? What do you have going on? I don't get to really hear your opinions on things because people don't comment a lot. I think that's a thing these days. Unless you say something really deeply controversial, then people don't comment on things anymore. Social media, you go into places like, oh, don't read the comments. But that's big issues. That's political stuff or celebrity gossip or some company that made somebody angry back in the day because they sponsored something that made a boycott and whatnot, and all of a sudden everybody's got opinions in the comments. It's all controversial scandal stuff. normal things, like just conversations and just regular posts, nobody ever comments on anymore. On Facebook, and this isn't that many, all things considered, but I've got 220 plus followers on Facebook, and most of them never say anything. Like, are you really following me? What's the point? You know? Do you have an opinion? Would you like to say something to me? I don't know. And people just don't talk. I don't know. It's a weird situation. But if you do have something to say, you can tell me. I am available. Not, I'm not available, like I'm not on Tinder or anything. You're not going to find me there. I'm not that kind of available. But I am available to comment on, to send opinions to. You can talk to me via email. You can comment on this episode via either Spreaker if you're signed up. I think it's free if you're just a listener on Spreaker. I don't think you have to pay anything. You can listen to the podcast and comment for free. Spotify has comments, at least for podcasts. If I ever get around to getting all this stuff back on YouTube again, it's still stuck back on episode 15, which was, of course, the Jack and V episode, which is a great episode, but this is episode 35, so it's been like 20 episodes since then, and they're not on YouTube. I got way behind, and it's just, because it takes time to do. I got to download the audio file. I have to convert it into a video file with a background and things, and I will admit I'm a bit lazy as far as that's concerned. It seems like a minor thing. Plus the fact that I don't get the ad revenue on YouTube that I do get here, which is why I wanted to stagger them to begin with, but I didn't want to leave them off completely. They do belong on YouTube because everything I do is on YouTube, but I don't want to cut out any of my ad revenue that I get through here. So, and you can call that greedy or whatever. It's how the world works. It's how things work. Ad revenue is what it is. I used to hate doing that. I used to want to go commercial free with everything. Now, some things deserve to be commercial free. Like my old ambient music show where it was like mostly drone and study music and things of that nature, all instrumental. That needed to be commercial free. Some people didn't understand that and didn't appreciate it, and it caused a huge issue in the past, but it's there's just some things you don't interrupt with a commercial for casino games or plumbing contractors or whatever. There's just something you don't interrupt. And a piece of ambient instrumental music designed to help you relax or to study or to whatever, you don't interrupt with commercials. You don't. It's just it's uncouth. I would say it's uncouth. A bit gauche. I don't remember what the word is. Gauche. I don't know. But, what were we talking about? How did we get on this? Ad revenue, I think. Oh, commenting. Yeah, you can comment and send me emails. I want to hear your opinions. I do. You can find me on Facebook. It's a public profile. I don't add every single person as a friend, but you can follow me there. And I believe you can still comment as a follower. I don't remember what my security settings are. I know I have some privacy things set up because certain individuals, I don't want them to talk to me. And they insisted for quite a long time that they were going to try to talk to me regardless of my own feelings. So I've taken a lot of stringent steps to avoid that kind of thing. But I am approachable. I am approachable on some level, and you can give me your opinion. I wouldn't mind. As long as you're not just going to say, hey, you know what, you suck. You're a piece of trash, and I think you should die in the fire. I mean, that's not nice, and I don't believe any of that, and if you send me something like that, I'm just going to ignore it, and I'm probably going to delete it. And probably block you. on a number of social media platforms because I don't have to put up with that kind of thing. I simply don't. But other than that, even if you have negative feedback, if it's well constructed, just like, you know what, I didn't like this episode because of this and this and this. As long as it's not insulting, like you're not calling me a moron and telling me that I'm full of it or something like that, you'd be like, you know what, I disagree. I think you overlooked this point, or I think that this is more important, or whatever. We can have a great conversation about that. I don't mind. I 100% do not mind people disagreeing with me. If you are polite about it, if you're not like a jerk about it, because I'm not going to go to your pages and your stuff and just be like, you know what, I think you're a big total asshole because you believe this. What do you have to say to that? You know, whatever. I'm not going to do that because I don't believe that, because I don't think that's fair. So I'm not going to put up with it if you do it on my stuff. I've blocked all kinds of people for little situations because they took a little something that was not a big deal and they made it into an insult to me. And I'm just not going to put up with that. You know, I don't feel I need to. Social media or not, I'm not going to put up with it. If you can't be respectful to me, then you don't need to talk to me. Honestly. And that's how everybody should be. You know, you should always demand respect. As long as you're not... You should demand respect as long as you're not disrespectful to other people while doing so. And I don't do that. I don't go and disrespect other people and then expect them to treat me nice. Because that's hypocritical. Hypocritical. I think I said hypocritical. I don't know. I've been talking badly for the week, too, because I've got so many things going on personally with the house and various things that it's affected my mind's in overdrive. And remember I said, too smart for my own good. Sometimes my brain just is far ahead of what I'm saying. And so my words get stumbly and they climb on top of each other. And it gets very Boomhauer from King of the Hill. If you know, you know. It gets a lot like that. Like just gobbledygook pouring out of my mouth. But that's it. We've pretty much come to the end here. I want to thank everybody for putting up with my long-winded, just random nonsense I had tonight. Because, again, I had no focus. I had no plan. More so than usual. Usually I have some bare-bones structure of something. And then tonight I didn't. It was just all over the place. But I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for listening. I'm going to get going. I have a few things I still have to do tonight before I can head to bed. And it's going to be a big week. I have a lot to do still to get this done. This project done. Poor timing. Again, absolutely poor timing as far as the universe goes. But I'm thankful that you listened. Thank you for tuning in. That's all I have. I'm going to get out of here. Have a good night.